Today, I'd like to talk about why capable adults feel stuck even when they're trying hard. In fact, it may be because they're trying hard that they feel stuck. All wisdom must be hard earned, but there is a difference between working hard and achieving wisdom. So let's have a look at how we can restore our orientation and get ourselves back on track and away from the hard work curse, where we start to pile on overinvestment into the wrong tasks in the failed belief that we are working hard, so therefore we must be succeeding. So let's have a look at some strategies to try and approach a better way of doing things. Let's have a look at how capability and effort don't always translate into outcomes, or at least not the outcomes that you require. And let's have a look at ways that we can change that around and get ourselves in a position where strategically we are putting our efforts, pouring our efforts into the right things at the right time in the right way. So we can evaluate the problem to some extent, because when a capable person feels stuck, it may not be a lack of ability, it may not be a lack of effort, but it may be a case of dispersed effort. It may be a case of spray and pray, throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks, trying lots of really hard, purposeless effort to try and get to the core of what you want. A better way to approach things, though, is to be more strategic, more directed, and cleverer. Have a clear idea of what your outcome is going to be, and then work out what is the bare minimum that you need to do to achieve that outcome, rather than having a vague idea of what you want to achieve and then trying to reinvent wheels constantly, sometimes weeks or months, before you realize that you've wasted a lot of your effort on unviable tasks and on uncertain propositions and on fluff. As an aside, I think one of the major symptoms of this malaise of working too hard for vague outcomes is being easily distracted. So if you ever find yourself just switching off and having to watch another YouTube video or watch another TikTok or scroll through Facebook, it may be that that activity or those activities are a symptom. It may be that doing those activities is nature's way of telling you that you're dispersing your attention and you're losing your focus, and therefore you're surrendering your agency. What can we do? How can we fix this problem? Well, let's have a look at some ideas going forward. I think a good place to start is by dispelling some myths, because there are lots of myths around hard work and activity. There are lots of people out there who will falsely inform you that if you just keep on pushing, you're going to get to your destination. Well, that's some nonsense, isn't it? A supertanker can push as hard as it likes through an ocean, but if it's pointing in the wrong direction, it ain't ever going to get where it's heading, or at least where it thinks it's heading. So myth number one, hard work is the same as progress. Drop this myth from your corollary. Just doing hard work, like the supertanker heading in the wrong direction, is not the same as making progress. Myth number two is that your activity represents a sense of direction. Again, you can do as much activity as you like, but it's not the same as having a correct heading, a correct bearing, and a correct sense of direction. So stop mistaking your activity for a sense of direction. Myth number three is that pressure, or working under pressure, is going to crush the noise. And I'll describe the noise a little bit more in a few moments, but let's think of it like this. A lot of people think that they work best under pressure, they get the best results when they work under pressure. Actually, they just get some results when they work under pressure that they wouldn't have got otherwise. But that's not the same as getting the best result. Strategically speaking, getting the optimum output from your efforts is what you're seeking to achieve. You're not seeking to achieve just any old output. You're trying to get a specific job done here. And the best way to do that is to approach the whole process a little bit more strategically. Discard what does not work and only employ and focus on what does work. So to regroup and just revisit the idea of noise, one of the differentiating factors that separates successful people from unsuccessful people is that successful people have a very low noise, very high signal ratio. The likes of Richard Branson, the likes of Elon Musk, these are the kinds of people who know exactly what they want to achieve from any given situation, and therefore they don't spend any time at all focused on noise. Noise is the distractions, it's the also-rans, it's the superfluous, it's just the stuff that isn't really relevant to the cause. Many of us tend to spend too much time dwelling in the noise, when what we need to do is to detect the signal, focus on the signal, and then follow that signal to the exclusion of all other things. I think what you'll find is the higher your signal to noise ratio, the better you will do. The more noise in your life, the less signal is getting through, and you are acting as a faulty filter and allowing too much dead weight or chaff to dominate your processes. So let's find a way to focus in on the signal and find ways to dispense with and get rid of the noise. Let's commence the strategic refit with a little bit of honesty. I'd like you to ask yourself, do you have a strategic frame that you operate to? Because if you don't have a strategic frame to operate to, you're going to lay yourself open, hostage even, to too many distractions, too much noise, and too much diffused effort. All of that dispersed effort that you're placing into the tasks, they are a result of not having a very clear strategic framework to work alongside or to work with. So what can we do? How can we introduce a strategic framework into our process? So here's part of the challenge. Ask yourself, audit yourself, confront this idea. How much signal to noise ratio do you generate? And if you're generating too much noise to signal, what are the things that you can do to fix the problem and to regain focus, get clarity? Well, there are three main things that you can do, and I'm going to outline them for you now, and I'm going to invite you to try them out in your own life and see if they are of any use to you. And if they are, please do drop a comment. Share your ideas, share your observations with me. I'd be more than happy to engage in correspondence with you. So here we go. Strategic fix number one is name the outcome you require. You can almost reverse engineer what it is that you require by naming specifically what it is you're aiming at. Anything that doesn't allow you to pursue that specific outcome is going to be noise. So fix your bearings, fix your compass, fix your heading onto one specific outcome, and then work towards that specific outcome. So remember that. Fix number one. Name specifically the outcome that you're aiming for. Strategic fix number two is assign a role to each of the actions that you're choosing to do. You've named your outcome, and now you need to know what is the purpose of the action. Is the purpose of the action to prepare? Is the purpose of the action to produce? Or is the purpose of the action to maintain? Prepare, reduce, and maintain are three specific ways that you can pin down the kind of action that you're taking. It's a great way for you to be able to maintain your focus, in such a way that you're going to cut out a lot of the distractions. So know what you want by naming your outcome, and then know how you're getting that outcome by knowing what the role of your actions is. Strategic fix number 3 is release the pressure from yourself, and do this by setting scheduled stops. Make sure you put a cap on the amount of effort that you intend to place into one activity. The problem we have here often is that we are so dedicated to creating an outcome that we tend to spend a lot of time just doing non-useful work. And one way to ensure that you're not going to do non-useful work is to put a cap on the amount of time that you wish to spend on something. And by so doing, you're going to remove some of the pressure. You're also going to reduce the amount of noise to signal that you're receiving. You're also going to reduce the amounts of temptations that you have to lose your focus and disperse your activity and your focus by looking at YouTube, Snapchat, Facebook. So now we have the beginnings of a strategic framework which is going to help you to improve your productivity. Have a think about what I've said to you, and if you like what I've said to you, please do put a comment in the space below. Just briefly, I'm going to quickly recap on what we've spoken about today so that you can have a potted version, if you like. Really what we've been talking about today is putting the correct amount of focus into an output so that you don't find yourself distracted. And that requires that you're able to name what the output is, the thing that you're aiming for, and it requires for you to be able to place that focus in a discrete time frame to the exclusion of all other distractions. You know, it's not rocket science really when you think about it. However, one of the problems many of us face is that we're too clever for our own goods sometimes. We're too susceptible to the crime of overthinking, and we're too dedicated to our tasks so that we think that increased effort and increased frenzied activity is the same as productivity. And as I said with the analogy of the supertanker, basically it can plow us hard through any weather, any waves, any currents, but if it's facing in the wrong direction at the beginning, all of that effort is going to come to nothing. So be strategic about how you use your time, and be strategic about how you reduce the noise to signal ratio so that you are functioning only with signal and reducing the noise. I hope this is useful to you. If it is, please do not hesitate to put a comment in the box below, and I will see you next time. And I would like to leave you with one thought. Whatever it is you dare to do or dream, begin it now.